Hi guys, today's video is 5 summer objects I only encountered after moving to America. And today we're showing my mum Lawrence from Lost in the Pond.
Okay.
Me and James are a regular reactor to his channel.
Right. Okay.
He basically, to give you the backstory quickly, he is from Grimsby in England, but he moved to America and he married his wife.
Oh, okay.
He's been there like over 15 years now. So he's fully American now. He's got his citizenship, he's bought his house.
Wow.
So he is full-blown American, but he is hilarious, and I think the videos you've done before, they've been Americans talking. You'll get his banter.
Okay.
You'll enjoy it.
Okay.
So we'll go straight into it.
Yeah.
Ice cubes are a lifesaver when you run out at parties, and they're made by wizards.
You'll get the joke.
Hello, I'm Lawrence, and I'm on a quest to uncover all of the memos that Britain and America lost in the pond, and one of those memos pertains to things, objects, stuff, particularly summer stuff. 42 years ago, in the winter of 2020, I did a video about 5 winter objects that I only encountered after moving to America, and this video serves as its summer counterpart, and as was the case with that video, I'll not be including food items. That's its own video, right? Just wanted to make that clear for people like Uncle Toby. Basically, man-made objects that are associated with the summer. And as we go through this list, keep in mind that some of these things might have a presence in Britain. It's just that either A, I was sheltered, or B, they're shown more prominently in America. And so, without further ado, let's take a look at 5 summer objects that I only encountered after moving to America. I think it's fair to say that I have a love-hate relationship with ceiling fans. Now, when I say overhead fans, I'm not referring to Lost in the Pond supporters who sit in the rafters at the live events that I don't have. I'm referring to fans on the ceiling. In British homes, they're exceedingly rare, whereas in America, I've yet to enter a house that doesn't have one. And that includes my mansion that has about 3. It's not a mansion. First of all, when you're a YouTube sensation, the last thing you need in your studio is an overhead fan, because it messes up your hair and your voice. I realise that this is a niche problem and that certain people need to check themselves before they wreck themselves. But the other first world problem that they produce is I never know how many times to pull the string.
Yeah, no one has them.
No.
We have our little floor fans.
Yeah. I think they were a thing. I remember seeing they were sort of around in the late 90s, and then they kind of disappeared again. I think they just proved to be
I guess like aircon, we just don't really need it either.
No. And I think they're great dust collectors.
Yeah.
And then they sit there all winter.
Because we don't use them. Whereas they use them all the time.
Yeah. Yeah.
And ours would sit there for about, and then be used for a week in the year.
Yeah. I remember actually I did live somewhere that had one of those, and I always remember being a bit frightened of it. The things it was like a helicopter rotary, and it would kind of spin off and hurt me.
Apparently on most units it's 3, and this is the sort of thing they should tell you at customs when you first arrive. Are you travelling with family? Are you here on business? Oh, and by the way, pull it 3 times and not 4, you numpty. But I said it's a love-hate relationship, whereas Lost in the Pond fans cheer me up. Overhead fans cool me down. And this is particularly useful when your studio doesn't have one of these. I'll admit it, when I first heard about America's propensity for using air conditioning, I thought it was weird. Why would you want that blowing through your home when you can just crack open a window and hear the sounds of nature? And I thought it was particularly unusual that anybody would want to partially obscure their window with this big box. We're British, we want to see outside, we want to see what that chaffinch is up to, we want to see if it's a light drizzle or a heavy downpour, we want to see the joggers. So I thought it was as weird as the next person, and then I met the next person. His name was Mick from Stockport. And Mick from Stockport had never actually left Stockport, but he had all kinds of views about the rest of the world, including America. And he absolutely lamented the artificial nature of American air conditioning. 2 weeks later, he died of heat stroke. Mick is, like any other British person that I talk about on this channel, entirely fictional. But he was as stubborn as I was when it came to air conditioning. We just don't have it in UK homes. But after moving to America, I saw the error of my ways. If you saw my recent video on how British heat waves ain't got nothing on America, you might have a clue as to why the absence of them would constitute a public health hazard. In many parts of the US, it's extremely common for the summer temperature to rise above 90 degrees Fahrenheit. The simple truth is, in July, an American home wouldn't be fit for humans, were it not for the installation of AC. Also, it does help that my cat has an aircon obsession.
Very nice for the cat.
Don't get me wrong, in the UK, inflatable mattresses are as popular as inflatable people, and you sometimes use them both at the same time. But in my experience, British people draw the line at using them while camping. That's the blow-up mattresses, not so much the other one. In America, they have a term for this. It's called glamping. Glamping is an example of a poor man's toe, or as it says in my dictionary, a portmanteau. It just means glamorous camping, and I was introduced to this concept by none other than old-fashioned AF, my wife.
So make sure you sign up as soon as you're finished watching this video.
In the height of summer, we went a-camping in southern Indiana, and I prepared myself for days on end for the enormous back pain I would feel afterward. See, this is what British campers do. We gear ourselves for a night or two of blissful torture. And this was the illusion I'd afforded myself on this visit to southern Indiana, right down to the moment that I put the last peg in the ground. And then my wife surprised me by pulling from the van an inflatable mattress and 2 pillows and a headboard and a dressing table. And it filled me with dread because I'd just signed a lease elsewhere. But also because it made me panic that my wife wasn't who I thought she was. But it turns out that this is quite normal in America. People here don't go camping to recreate the living conditions of Neanderthals. They do it to sit around campfires and eat s'mores and play songs. So whatever you learn from the 1999 American documentary The Blair Witch Project, forget it, that's old news. Now maybe I'm becoming Americanized. Over time I've become comfortable with America's obsession with being comfortable. That's probably why when it comes to my new house, I want to add one of these.
I think I would go camping more if I had a mattress.
Yeah, I think glamping is taking off though,
It is.
isn't it?
It's becoming a thing.
Yeah,
Definitely.
in those yurts.
Yeah, like fancy.
Yeah,
Yeah,
'cause I think
definitely.
people are a bit done with that whole line on
Sleeping on a sleeping bag on the floor.
on a ground sheet. Yeah,
It's not as comfy.
Yeah, well, it's not much of a holiday if you think
No.
you're aching for
Especially if
weeks
it's raining
after.
as well and the ground's all soggy and
Bit of comfort.
Yeah.
I'm going to go out on a limb here with no data to back up what I'm about to say. Per household, America has way more front porches than Britain. I've been to various parts of the United States, and having done so, one thing stands out as a constant among its streets. Friends and families getting hammered on the front porch. In Britain, we must like our privacy because if we have porches, they tend to be in the back garden/yard. Either way, there's one element of porches that I didn't encounter until moving to America. Swing benches. Again, that's not to say we don't have them in Britain, they're just more prevalent in America, and again, I don't have data to back that up. It's an observation. I've now lived in the US for about a third of my life, and in that time you do get a good sense for America's furniture choices. And if it turns out that my observation is numerically incorrect, the wife and I will be more than happy to tip the scales back in America's favour. That was just an excuse to show you my empty front porch. I should have played it cool, much like this. If you take a
front porch thing, I would love a house with the wood on the outside, like some of the American houses have, and that front porch and the swing and the table.
Whereas I think they use their front porch more, and we use our back garden more. Yeah. But I like the fact that you're just sitting on the swing out front.
Yeah. Saying hello to everybody going past, and
definitely
got a neighbour to wave to. Yeah, I think. Yeah, the British are a little bit more like everyone keeps themselves to themselves a little bit more.
I think as well, our houses are more compact.
Yeah.
Whereas they have those big gardens, they have those big
houses. Yeah.
Obviously not everybody, but the majority of that is a big. When you think of American house, you think of the big front porch.
Yeah.
Rather than our little tiny steps.
Yeah.
Knife and try to cut an ice cube in half, you might have A, a mess, and B, a perfect metaphor for the final entry on our list. In other words, this is 2 entries in 1. It can shatter everything Americans hold dear when they discover that British people on the whole don't put ice cubes in their water. And perhaps this creates an illusion that British people eschew ice cubes altogether, but that couldn't be further from the truth. We do sometimes put them in water, but also Pims, mostly that. And growing up in Britain, in my family, we had one of those ice trays that you fill with water and put in the
But you can only fill those up so many times, then you get bored.
Yeah, and they make a mess in your freezer as well, because you cannot get them in without spilling loads of it all over the bottom of the drawer.
Definitely. We've got ones with the lids. So
we've got one of those as well now.
But you can only fill it up so many times. Whereas I think in America, one, it's hotter, so you want a cooler drink.
Yeah.
And two, they have the fridges.
Yes, I was going to say, because we never had those.
No.
They're quite recent over here.
So that's easy, isn't it? If you just press a button, then you get ice.
I remember seeing those actually. They were like a machine of mystery. What this big thing was at the front. Like,
but definitely, I would say in restaurants, ice in your drinks is pretty normal, unless you say otherwise.
Yeah.
They'd give you
I guess, in
a restaurant, I think.
Yeah.
freezer. In fact, this is something that Americans, the British, and people the world over have in common. But I was 26 years old when I discovered that you could buy pre-made ice cubes in a bag. These ice cubes are a lifesaver when you run out at parties, and they're made by wizards. And it just happens that my discovery of them came about in America. This is an example of me living a sheltered life, because it turns out you can absolutely get them in Britain. They're just not displayed as prominently. I'm mostly talking about gas stations. One thing you'll notice when you drive into BP, ironically British Petroleum, is that outside of them they feature subtly decorated ice cube vendors. So if you're hosting a party that night and you're running a bit behind, don't go to Walmart, go to BP. You can get everything you need. That's it for this episode.
We definitely have bagged ice, but I don't think that bag of ice would fit in my freezer.
No, I bought a bag of ice actually not long ago, and it was only because it was an unusually hot day, and I had frozen stuff from the supermarket that I was really worried was going to defrost. So I bought like a bag of ice for about £1, and then just put it on top, and then
But you didn't use it to drink with your drinks?
Not really.
No, you don't really like icy drinks, do you?
No, because it has
Yeah, but I feel like I do like an icy drink, but when you're really thirsty, I can't drink it because it's way too cold.
Yeah, it's too much.
It's too much.
Yeah.
But did you enjoy Lawrence?
Yeah, he's really good, isn't he?
It's funny, isn't
really
it?
Cool.
I think you get the British humour when
Yeah.
it's a British person on the screen.
It's quite dry, isn't it?
Yeah, it's funny. If you want to see us check any more Lawrence videos out, let us know in the comments and hit the like button and the subscribe button, and we'll see you in the next one.